Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Effect episode number 34. We got some burning questions for you. We're sponsored by Dynasty Daddy. We're brought to you by Dynasty Theory and the Fantasy Football Infinity. And I do it backwards in 3 different ways every single time we do this. But we got Jay with me and Holler. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. And you're just keeping people on their toes, right? Making sure they're listening, right? So,
yeah, I like it. You're changing it up every time.
That's what
I'm having a rough week. If you guys noticed my little tidbit in the beginning of our intro, A-Chain was my number 2 running back. We'll get to that in the news, but bummer.
So are you gonna update it, or are you just gonna ride it into the ground?
I'm gonna ride it out.
I think you caveated it with the points per game, didn't you? So as long as he gets back on the field, you should be fine.
Yep, we'll see.
Oh, my connection. Don't worry about me. Why don't we do some? You guys want to start me up?
Let's go.
There's nothing more I'd love than to start you up, Ron. So
yes.
this week we're kind of going over some preseason standouts over the first 2 weeks of the season. So Holler, why don't you hit us with your favorite team guy here?
Yeah. So I promise I don't love the Washington football team, but honestly, Cole Turner is starting to stand out. Tight end, if you're in a 2 tight end league, I think that's somebody that probably is probably not on the waiver wire, but if he is, go out and grab him. He's starting to play really well. He's got a good rapport with Sam Howell, and Washington desperately needs a tight end. And they got old Logan Thomas. And then he's caught a few balls in both of the preseason games. I know they're not playing against anybody good on the defensive side, but it's just good to see him getting balls. And then one good thing is that he is out there. He's out there throwing blocks, right? So if he's able to throw some blocks, he will stay on the field. And that's one big thing we want to see with tight ends that we're going to put on our roster, and someone that we're actually going to play week to week. He's got to stay on the field. So if he stays on the field, he's going to get targets. And I think he will actually be the tight end 1 in Washington. It probably does not result into anything too crazy. So probably like a good tight end 3, I would say overall, like in that range. But if you need if a 2 tight end, I think that's somebody there you want to make sure to try to grab.
I mean, honestly, if any tight end that has the opportunity to start, like they have a chance to be useful, especially in 2 tight ends or even in just 2 tight end premium, right?
Yep.
Like, and if he happens to fall into the end zone a few times, all of a sudden you're looking at like a tight end like 13, 14 season, and he didn't. You don't have to do anything. So
you don't. That's where I grabbed him from, because I think he's going to be able to start. Logan Thomas is out, and he's just actually putting a good preseason together. And I read something, I think it was probably on Twitter or whatever, but he came in with Sam Howell. And so last year he didn't do much, obviously. And so I think he's been able to, be on that second team last year in the preseason. And then he's been able to have a little rapport with Howell. Yeah.
Are we going out to brunch together? You love to hear that, right?
Yeah. If they're going to breakfast together, that's a serious thing.
Bottomless mimosas.
Stafford and Cup. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it can't go. It's got to go well for everybody that does it. Real quick, I got my first Sun God jersey. Thanks, Evan. Proceed.
Love it, dude. It was funny.
Let's go.
When I hopped on, pre-show, I saw the jersey and I was like, "Who is that?" Because I didn't see the 4, and I just saw like the 1, and I was trying to figure out if it was like a golf jersey or. But
no, yeah.
God,
there's no golf jerseys around here.
Why not, dude?
Well, McSpankster, I still have trouble trusting old Jared out there. I wish he was more athletic, and I would trust him more. McSpankster, who's your guys?
Surprisingly, I thought you were going to take this guy, but I'm going to take it. So Tank Bigsby, man, he has looked just awesome. Like, I know it's just 2 preseason games, so I don't want to get overexcited, but it's the preseason performances, and it's the news coming out of camp that he's just doing awesome. Like, he's running over dudes, he's breaking huge runs. Like, in both preseason games, he's broken a 15+ yard run in both games. He's looked awesome doing it. Granted, it's not against the starters, but I think he's going to be on the field a lot more than we kind of
I
thought
think so
might
too.
be. I think he's going to eat into ETN's workload, but man, I'm just excited for some Tank Bigsby. I'm really buying in. I think Auburn kind of like being such a bad
Sucked.
Yeah.
college program.
Yep.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
Being so bad, I think it just kind of tainted his value and kind of put a stink on him. But now that he's in a functional offense, it's like, okay, this kid's actually talented, and let's let him go.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see what he'll end up doing. Like I'll see how I can't wait to see how they put both of them out on the field. But I do know that Peterson likes to have 2 running backs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going to use them both. And so it just will depend on who gets the more valuable touches. But I think they're both going to be usable in startup to start your in a starting lineup.
I think
That's so exciting. It's so exciting for Tank. It really is. All the way from people didn't think Tank would get the draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in on Tank since before then, since I saw the tape, since I saw the film. I don't want to overexcite myself on Tank Bigsby.
Yeah.
This is why I can't pick Tank Bigsby for my personal. I get too hyped. I'll be bouncing off the walls in here. It'll be Tank love and Tank juice all over the place. Don't worry about it. We'll move on to my guy, and my guy is Javonte. The reason I picked Javonte is because this dude is going to be back on the field before J.K. Dobbins is, I swear to you, fully healthy.
Dang.
This man's amazing.
so
much Tank.
Okay, so Javonte
Sean
Williams
Payton's out here saying he's looking good. Look, they're going to run the ball. You don't want Russ throwing the ball anymore. You don't want the game in Russ's hands. You don't want Russ cooking. Nobody's ever wanted Russ cooking except for Russ himself.
Fair. So here's my concern with Javonte, though, right? Like, he's going to be back on the field, but is he all the way ready to go? I know they say he looks good, but is he
ready to roll? Is
he actually ready to go? And are we sure that Denver's offense is going to be good? Because I'm still not bought in on that idea that they're going to be like
they'll be able to run the ball.
That's what I was going to say as well. I'm still worried. I need to see it before I can buy in. It's good to hear that he's back on the field. That he's looking good. But I just, I think they're still going to ease him in. I think if you're going to use him too much right away, he might get re-injured. And that's definitely not something you want. And so it'll be interesting to see. I think Samaj will actually start off a little bit more. So I think it's going to, but it is really good to see that already he's back on the field. And, I think he had a solid showing in that preseason game.
I was just looking. He played 12 snaps. Looks like he got 3 carries for 12 yards. Not bad. And then he got a couple of targets in the passing game. So
like the man himself says he's healthy himself, and Dobbins is out here saying, things don't feel right. Brees is out here saying, I don't feel comfy cutting. They're all the same, varying different degrees of ACLs here, I guess I should say. But Javonte ain't out here complaining.
Yeah, no, that's super. To me, that's super important. He's confident in himself, and I think that's honestly half the game. Like, he needs to be confident about how he's feeling, and I think that goes a long way.
I'm confident in a Sean Payton run game as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Just the run scheme and that being brought over. They always had a good running game in New Orleans, even when the teams weren't super awesome. The running game has always been there and available to them, and I think that bodes well for Javonte and his future. Do we want to move into the news with much smaller?
One real quick thought on that is, yes, they had a good running game, but they also had to respect Drew Brees throwing the ball, whereas I don't know if defenses are going to respect Russell Wilson the same way.
I wouldn't respect Russell at all.
No, agreed.
I'd walk my corners right up there and mug them receivers.
Yeah, perfect. I think that's going to be a kind of a fun. I don't know if fun's the right word, but a fun team to see if they can turn it around. Because there's a lot of things. Is Sean Payton cooked as well as Russ? So we'll see.
A double cook.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Okay, Devin A-Chain was carted off in a preseason game. Was this a thing? I've lost that one, but he avoided the serious injury. He says he's week to week now. Do you think he just got dinged up a little bit and they're playing the precautionary game,
so.
or
Yeah.
do you think that this is, signs of things to come? That's what I was looking for.
No, so it's funny, like Twitter was trying to a buzz when the injury happened, when they saw him carted off, and everyone's like, wait, nothing happened. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And they had to go back into like earlier in the first half when he busted that kind of bigger run, and he got just like suplexed to the ground basically by the defender. And so people think that he hurt his shoulder at that point. I think the cart was precautionary. I think we overreact when we see the cart because we're like, oh man, this guy's done. But in the preseason, man, they cart you off for anything. So
I would be waving the cart off so fast. Like I'd be like, get that thing away from me. I don't need a cart for this. I can get off myself. It's fine. We're good.
I feel when they bring that card out, everyone thinks that they're dead. So it's like, come on now. But it's never good, of course. But I think it was pretty, it was good to hear that it was, not a serious injury. But to me, I think he needs to still be playing in these games to get more acclimated to the playbook. But honestly, what's more than the injury might be the JT news.
Do you think Taylor's really going to go there though? Like the Dolphins are really going to? I don't.
Yeah, we can kind of move into this
Mike
one
McDaniel, McDaniel or McDaniels, S or no S, I don't care. Like he comes from the Shanahan system that they don't really value running backs highly, so I don't see him pushing to trade for JT unless we're completely mistaken about how he views running backs from where he came from. I know where was A-Chain drafted? What was the
third round?
Was it third round?
Yeah, third round.
So that's the thing. They didn't spend a ton of draft capital on A-Chain. I mean, third round is good, but it's not like they spent like an early second on him.
Yeah.
They tried to bring in Dalvin Cook, but then they ultimately didn't want to pay him. They gave Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert pretty bare minimum like vet deals. Like nothing that they have done has shown that they're willing to pay up for running backs. I don't think it's likely that he goes there.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Is I don't think he's going to go there, but that is never. I have high hopes for A-Chain, so it's never good to hear that. But for JT to be traded, he's got to get a long-term deal, is what I'm hearing. And so I just think I don't think that's going to happen with Miami, especially McDaniel. Just not a big running back guy. He uses multiple guys. JT's is got to be your every down back
guy.
Yeah, so he's not somebody. I think at the end of the day, he's going to stay in Indianapolis.
Will he pull a Hawk Daddy and all of a sudden he's got an ear infection and a bad back and he can't get on the field?
Well, he's already injured.
I was going to say he's already like walking around. Like
I think the injury is debatable, but
I'm sure a few $1 million his way. All of a sudden, that ankle feels just 100% better.
Yep, so. I'd feel better.
Same.
All right, what are the Washington Commanders doing playing their starters? Namely, just Terry McLaurin, because we all know Terry's history. I don't even play for the team or work for the team.
You don't?
And I knew it was a bad idea having Terry out on the field for an entire half of football. This dude misses 4 to 5 games a year already.
So
what's the point in him being out there? He's the best player on the team.
So I get that, but you're also breaking in a new offensive system and a new quarterback. I get there's no substitute for real in-game experience, and yes, probably Terry shouldn't have been in there. But I mean, Hal and Dotson and some of the younger guys probably did need to be in there. I think Terry, honestly, it was probably more his call than anything because he's such a competitive dude. He probably was like, no, I want to be out there with my guys. My guys are out there. I'm going to be out there. It's unfortunate what happened, but it sounds like it could have been a lot worse.
My issue is turf toe is a little very lingering.
Gonna linger,
right? And so
all season long.
On Sunday I had 2 of my home redraft leagues, and I think I got McLaurin both of them kind of later, and I was feeling really good, and then Monday that kind of shot me down as well. But I think it'll be okay.
Toe, huh?
Right in the toe, yeah. I think it'll be okay because even if he misses a week or 2. He's a competitor. I know he misses a couple games a year, but I think maybe just get this injury out of the way.
Here's the thing, though. The turf toe can be, depending on the severity, can be a problem or not. Because pretty sure Justin Jefferson had a turf toe injury late last year, and he was fine, right? Like you didn't even notice anything was different.
Well, I mean, when you're like godly all the time and you just kind of slightly come down from that, it's hard to tell the difference, to be honest.
That's true.
Also, I just wanted to say one thing about McLaurin. You guys are throwing this out there. So, like, he missed 3 games in 2019. He missed 2 in 2020, and he's played 17 games the last 2 years. So,
dang.
I think part of it is he's on the injury report a lot, and so you just kind of think like, oh, he's injured. But he does play now. That might actually be worse because then you feel like you need to start him, and then he's
Mike Williams
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't do anything, but he does. He does get on the field quite a bit. So.
Okay. All right. Did you guys know JSN broke his wrist?
Apparently.
This was news to me.
It was same here. I saw it didn't look good when he came down. He came down right on his hand. I didn't think anything of it because he, just got tackled and he got up and got all hyped about his. But what I noticed the most out of that is he got caught from behind. Right.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So
That's all he does.
That's kind of what we talked about earlier, but I don't know. That's not very good.
To be fair, he beat the defender and he got a ton of separation first. So he knows
how to get open.
Points.
He is not going to be any sort of burner.
I would have taken
that. Is
I would have liked the extra 5 or 6 points if he got that touchdown though.
Yeah,
fair. And Tyler Lockett would have.
That's what I saw. That
Tyler Lockett, he is not.
It's okay. He still got open. It sounds like it's like kind of weird because I think Pete Carroll said a 3 to 4 week timeline, which puts them kind of back in like the week 3-ish area. But there was some I didn't see or get clarity on whether or not he actually got surgery on his wrist or not, or if he was going to get surgery, or if he's getting a second opinion. I'm not sure if he ever got it. So that timeline might be pushed back even further.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the biggest impact on this is more to his redraft value than it is to his dynasty value. I don't think dynasty is going to have any long-term effects, but redraft, his draft capital is going to plummet, I think, because you're not going to get him for the first month of the season, probably.
Yeah, I agree 100% there. I think I saw something in the Discord that somebody was asking if there's a buy window for JSN, and I don't think there is. I don't think his dynasty value is going to change at all, to be honest.
So everybody's favorite news reporter, Adam Schefter, JSN, is undergoing wrist surgery today in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay,
that was yesterday.
Okay,
that's what Schefter said. So
I kind of had a feeling already. It's obviously not good that he got injured, but I had a feeling he was going to kind of start the season slow anyway. If you have any Lockett, that's really good for Tyler Lockett, to be honest.
Yeah,
for sure.
Love me some Lockett. You can't trade him though. Tried to trade him away today.
It's okay. Some guys, it's okay to just let die on your roster and just give them, just take the points. He's one of them I'm okay with.
Well, I wish he wasn't scoring points on my roster because I need it to be worse. I need it to be bad.
That's what I was going to say. Is that you
don't want those points? Should we get into some of these burning questions?
Let's do it, man.
What's burning you up? What's burning you up, McSpanky?
Well, a lot of things, but we'll stick to football at this point in time. DJ Moore, right? He's currently the wide receiver 19 in ADP. Can he pay off that value?
I think so.
Ron's not.
I don't know, to be honest. I know. Ron loves him some DJ Moore. I feel like there's high hopes for him. I worry with how much Justin Fields lacks his ability to throw the ball.
But only throws it to DJ Moore.
Where's my challenge flag? I'm going to pull a Coach Dan here.
Oh,
Justin Fields is a fine passer of the football.
Okay, that's
go back and watch his college tape. He throws a really pretty ball. He's had a terrible offensive line. He's had terrible wide receivers. I think this is his first year with actual NFL caliber talent at the receiving core, and I think he's going to show a lot of people wrong that he can throw the football.
The Moon Man.
That's fair. I just think there's a lot of hype for DJ Moore, and so I don't know. I think at the end of the day he'll probably be like WR maybe 23, 24. So it's kind of on the same as the ADP, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very hard for him not to, kind of just looking at him historically and what he's done. He's got, minus his rookie year and last year, he's been over 1,100 yards every single year. This past year, he upped his touchdowns, and he was only at 888 yards, and that got him to wide receiver 24. So, he just has to have a ho-hum DJ Moore year, and he's sitting right about at his ADP. And are you really going to be upset about 4 to 5 spots off of the ADP? I'm not going to be. I would be like, all right, well, it looks like we were right on that one. I think
and if
he could honestly go slightly higher based off of his volume and the lack of pass catchers in Chicago. Yeah,
and if he ends up, anywhere in the 20 to 24 range, he's still going to be WR2, right? And so if you're getting that at the ADP of wide receiver 19, and I think Spanky's going to talk about this here, but it's probably the best quarterback he's going to play with. He has played with.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you said something nice about Justin Fields.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's a murderer's row list here.
Yeah.
Let's look at the list, right? We got Cam Newton, which just
the end of Cam's career.
Which exactly in a vacuum, you're like, oh, Cam Newton, but it was the bad Cam Newton. It was post Super Bowl, post injury. Then you got Kyle Allen, who I don't think is in the league anymore. Teddy Bridgewater, who's just a backup. Sam Darnold, who's also
wearing number 50.
Baker Mayfield, who's kind of a starter in Tampa Bay, but not a good one. So, I mean, like, he's put up 1,100 yards with a cast of clowns throwing in the football. Like, Justin Fields, whatever you want to say about him, he's better than that group of misfits.
Wow.
Was that a hot take?
Wow. No. In the chat, DJ Moore equals discount Diggs.
That's what people have been calling him. You know how they went out, how the Bills went out and got Diggs for Josh Allen, and the Eagles went out and got AJ Brown for Jalen Hurts, and all of a sudden they skyrocket. That's the thought process of what the DJ Moore situation is, and we'll find out about Justin Fields very shortly here.
I think so, but I think the other thing too is, like, if you take him at wide receiver 19, he's probably the safest wide receiver 2 you could probably hope to get in that range, because he's like, worst case, he's going to be like a mid wide receiver 20, 25 kind of area, and he has the potential to potentially be like a backhand wide receiver 1. So, like, has a really high floor, and I think the ceiling is there as well. So I love me some DJ Moore.
Yeah, and nobody else is there. Like, after DJ Moore, there's Mooney and Claypool. Like, I don't worry about either of those guys. And there's also
Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I was gonna say Cole Kmet. I mean, the only thing going for him is he got a lot of money, and I don't think he is gonna be anything either. So it's gonna be a lot of DJ Moore. So I think I'm with you guys. I think he is going to be right around his ADP.
So
I think he could be higher. Honestly, I was just looking at. Sorry, Ron. I was just looking at ADP kind of on FantasyCalc. Wide receiver 18 is Jerry Jeudy. Give me DJ Moore over that.
Agreed.
Drake London 17. That's a little dicey.
Toss. You know what? Yeah. I'll take DJ Moore. I will, because I don't trust Desmond Ridder.
And then
that's what everybody says. I would take that's fair, but I'm still taking London.
I think I'd probably go DJ Moore there as well, but I think that's more dependent on your roster construction, not the cop out. But and then Diggs and Metcalf are directly above them. I think that's where I probably draw the line.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. I couldn't take. Yeah, no way, not over Stephon Diggs. Or DK.
Yep, I'm there as well.
DK is a full-grown man that just eats Skittles. What a life! What a life he lives.
Did you guys see that interview he did talking about his diet?
No,
like legitimately, like he eats like a nice breakfast, right? Like eggs, bacon, sausage, whatever.
Oh, he does eat some good food.
And then no joke, he eats like 3 big like shareable bags of candy. That's the rest of all he eats. Like Skittles. I think he said like some like sour gummies and like something else, but like legit, this grown man eats candy just all day, and he looks like.
I wonder how raw his tongue is by the end of the day. You eat too many of them sour candies, your tongue gets raw, dude. I used to eat candies all the time. When you try to quit smoking and stuff, you chew on stuff, and dude, it makes your tongue raw. Be careful out there, DK. You don't want to be running around with a raw tongue.
Oh man,
he's
Wow.
not on the screen anymore.
That's a
Well, should we move on to our favorite waiver wire pickups so I don't talk about candy anymore?
yeah.
Let's do it.
I'll be honest. This one was a little tough for me because a lot of the guys I kept thinking of, they're all already taken in most of my leagues. Like I play a lot of people in the Discord, so most of us are pretty, smarter. I would like to say. But so three of my guys are I talked about already. Cole Turner, if he's available, go grab him. I think he's gonna be the tight end 1 in Washington. He's probably not available, but if he is, grab him. Andre Iosivas, I probably butchered that, but I think he is somebody that you can stash on your roster. I grabbed him in a couple of my rookie drafts, probably 4th round, or I've already picked him up. He's speedy and he's putting together a great camp, right? There's already 3 wide receivers there in Cincy, but they need to pay both T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. So I think after next year, it's pretty wide open. And I know like a couple no-name guys got onto the field last year and put together, a couple
Where did he go to
solid
college?
games.
Princeton.
Princeton, yeah.
Okay. I thought it was that guy. Okay.
Yeah. And then last, my guy on my home team, Demarcus Robinson, is putting together a great camp as well. I know he's going to be probably available in many of your leagues. And WR2 and WR3 is wide open for the Rams. I'm hoping my boy Puka makes WR2, but I think they're going to trust Robinson a little bit more than Puka out of the at the beginning of the season.
Robinson's a solid receiver. He played for the Raiders last year. He did well. He gets on the field, does what he's supposed to do, right? He's not going to make any like crazy plays, but he's a solid receiver.
Yeah, so I think if you need some help in the beginning of the season and he's available, grab him. If you got like a 3 flex spots, 4 flex spots, it's a deep 16 team or whatever, something like that. I think he's probably available, and that's somebody that you may be able to spot start.
Yeah, I used to try to do it when he played for Kansas City every once in a while.
Yeah, I remember he's been all over the place. I think he played a little bit in Baltimore last year as well.
He did.
So too.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, my guy, I don't know if you can get him anymore off waivers, but he is Richie James, and he does play for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the reason I have him is he's a steady Eddie out there. And Patrick Mahomes will find his steady Eddie when he needs him the most.
Yep.
There's no dominant receiver as of yet. We think that it's going to be Sky Moore, just kind of based off of the camp hype and him having his second year in the system. The Juju leaving, Travis Kelce is always going to get his, but there's targets ripe for the taking there in Kansas City. So that's why I went with old Richie James.
I like Richie James. He actually was pretty useful in New York last year on the Giants.
100%
he was.
I was just looking. He had 67 targets, which doesn't not a ton, but like 569 yards, 4 touchdowns. A lot of that came in the back half of the season. I mean, like there were plenty of times where if you needed a flex play, he was ready to roll, and he never like burned you either. Like he always put up at least a decent stat line.
Steady Eddie, baby.
Yeah, and he was playing with Daniel Jones, so you get
Slight
a huge upgrade.
Just a little bit.
Huge upgrade there, and so I think he's gonna. The hard part with Kansas City, I think we've talked about it before, is just you got to pick the right guy. I think it's gonna be somebody will come.
Yeah,
it'll probably be one of the younger guys, but I think in the beginning of the season, Richie James might put together some solid games, might get a couple touchdowns here and there.
Don't sleep on Sky Moore, man.
He's so cheap.
He is cheap. He's free.
Yeah, if he's available, grab him. I when I saw the show doc yesterday, I went and took a look and see if some of my better teams, but he wasn't available.
Yeah, he's probably. Yeah, we probably should have put like you got to be a free agent in so many odd leagues percentage wide.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was having a hard time.
I did not look at all. I was just like Richie James.
Yeah.
I bet Iosifas, I think that's how you say his name. I'm not entirely sure, but the wide receiver from Cincinnati, I bet you could find him on waivers.
He definitely is. I know Robinson is. I've been seeing this next guy, McSpanky. This is your guy,
Rico Dowdle.
Yeah,
Dowdle. I don't know how you pronounce that either.
The Waddle.
I probably should have looked that up. It's spelled like Cowdle, but like with a D. So I'm assuming it's like Dowdle. Anyways, it sounds like he's taking over the running back 2 role in Dallas. I know there's Deuce Vaughn. There's tearing it up in the preseason, but he's 5'6", so
loose. Listen,
the deuce is loose,
dude.
Okay, but hold on,
he is phenomenal. Okay, don't sleep on him.
he's fun, right? He's fun. He's electric.
For 4 years, he did that at Kansas State.
I understand. It's a little bit different in the NFL.
I know
than the Big 12.
A little bit.
But Dowdle's he's a big back, man. He's 6 foot 215. He's really the only power guy that they have. So I could easily see him getting goal line work there in Dallas.
Sure.
And I mean the ghost of Zeke Elliott last year fell into the end zone about 12 times. So not saying he'll do that, but if he gets the opportunities, man, he could fall into the end zone, 6-7 times and put up a kind of a ho-hum little, get you through some bye weeks and nothing too exciting.
And I saw McCarthy was talking about him. He was hyping him up a little bit. He's finally healthy. He's big back, strong. So I think we'll see, but I think he could maybe pick up some of that Zeke slack.
It might be useful for a handful of weeks there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The next guy, I have a pair of wide receivers on this next one. These are more of a kind of a stash for next year. It's Raheem Jarrett and Trey Palmer, both wide receivers out in Tampa Bay. Trey Palmer has been lighting up training camp.
Yeah.
And then Raheem Jarrett is a guy I like coming out of college. He played at Maryland. He had a really good junior year. His senior year, he kind of took a step back, which is why he went undrafted ultimately. But he's a good talent. He's been making some plays too. Russell Gage is already hurt and he's out for the year. Honestly, he might be on his last leg there in Tampa. Mike Evans is on the last year of his deal. I think he has got 3 void, years at the end of his deal, so he's probably gone after this year. Baker Mayfield isn't there for the long term. I think this is a rebuilding team. There's a decent chance that they're bad, and next year some of those guys they might get decent playing time. So,
quick question: Who's throwing these balls for Trey Palmer to be lighting up camp?
That's a good question.
That's a great question.
I think we get that guy out there starting.
I'm assuming it's Baker. Could be Trask though.
That kind of cracks me up when we know who the quarterback is, but we got this wide receiver just lighting camp on fire. You know what I mean?
That's a great question.
It's also concerning for the Bucs defense.
Sure. I mean, is he going against the starters? Is it
supposedly
is it Butler out there? We'll see. Ready for what's burning you up next, McSpanky?
Of course, always ready. So the next one here, this one comes to us from Reddit actually, but someone was asking about Jordan Addison versus George Pickens. Basically, the idea here was George Pickens he's kind of getting ready to take a step forward in year 2. He's really dependent on whether or not Kenny Pickett can support multiple wide receivers, and then Jordan Addison being a rookie in Minnesota, they're kind of right around the same kind of ADP in that range. And then I actually have them projected to finish fairly closely, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts there on Jordan Addison versus George Pickens.
I don't know if I just hate.
Addison.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know if I just hate George Pickens or what, but 7 days out of the week I'll take Jordan Addison.
Okay. Yeah, baby.
I bet you feel differently if you played for the Commanders.
That's true. That's true.
So my big thing, I would like to have a wide receiver that's getting the ball from Kirk Cousins as opposed to Kenny Pickett. That's a whole hell of a lot easier for me to trust. At this moment in time, I think George Pickens is going to be a boom bust flex. I think he's going to have 100%. Some highlight reel catches, and he's going to do some freaky stuff, and he's going to scream really loud at some people and really flex at them. And other than that, I think that's about it. I don't think he's a 1. I think he's.
And I think what's really helping Addison is going to help him a lot. Is he's going to be on the side of Justin Jefferson, and so I think he's going to be open a lot. And I think Justin Jefferson is going to get his, but I think Addison's it's going to maybe take a little bit of time. So I think that this year they're closer together but I think moving forward, I just 100% feel more confident with Jordan Addison.
So we mentioned that Jordan Addison, we have the better quarterback, but there's a decent chance that Kirk Cousins doesn't return to Minnesota next year. Do we still feel the same way if let's say Kenny Pickett takes a step forward and he's just league average decent quarterback play, right? And then Minnesota, let's say Kirk Cousins leaves and I don't know who their quarterback is, but do we still feel the same kind of safety net of Jordan Addison there. I mean, he gets still playing with Justin Jefferson, but I mean, his quarterback. I mean, who knows?
Honestly, I do. I just think, to me, George Pickens is more of a boomer bust guy. He just, has those highlight reel plays, and so I don't know. It will depend on how this year happens, of course, But I just think at the end of the day, I'll take Addison.
I'm still going to be Addison. That is a good point, McSpanky, but still, we don't know what Matt Canada has done to improve his offense as an offensive coordinator for the Steelers. Supposedly it's better, but better for Steeler country is let's run the ball 30 times with Najee and not worry about, and let our top 5 defense take care of the rest. Like, they could just pack it all in and say, nope, let's just be smart with the ball here.
And I was just going to say that I feel like also Deontay Johnson is going to actually get some touchdowns this year. And so that's going to take away from Pickens, right? I don't know, obviously, off the top of my head, how many touchdowns Pickens had last year, but I think some of those came because Deontay Johnson didn't get some. But it'll just depend. And I think, honestly, I like where Deontay Johnson is going in startups, but I feel like I'm kind of out on both of those guys.
I'll take Deontay just because of the strict volume play. And he's always open. And I think Pickens is their downfield threat. They're, go up and get it, 50-50 ball, old school 1990s wide receiver with some one-handed catches.
What if I told you last year Kenny Pickett only threw 7 touchdowns and George Pickens caught 4 of those 7? Does that change your mind at all? Assuming Pickett gets closer up to, let's call it like 22, 23. Then that all of a sudden, that if we hold the ratio somewhat true, then all of a sudden Pickens is looking at closer to like 8, 9 touchdowns, and then Deontay Johnson can still get like 6 or 7, which is generally what he's gotten in the past. I don't know. I think I initially was thinking Addison, but I think I kind of talked myself into George Pickens here.
That's fair.
Nope.
I'm still on Addison to 100%.
So
I just think I really love the point of, Kirk Cousins leaving probably after this year, but I think if they put together a good year, right, and they say they lose in the wild card or something like that, and I think maybe Kirk Cousins stays around and give me the guy that's playing alongside Justin Jefferson.
Either Kirk stays or another competitive quarterback walks right through the door.
Yeah, but that's not always. That doesn't always work out. Like, look at Matt Ryan in Indianapolis.
Yeah. Listen, let's not besmirch the elite Matt Ryan today. Jeez Louise.
Is the first name that came to mind.
Yeah, the offensive line was trash all year long. Matt couldn't do anything about that. You know he's not an athletic quarterback. Come on.
I'm just saying that
I know, I understand.
It always sounds good in theory, bringing in like a vet, but it doesn't always pan out.
What if Trey Lance?
But I think you can get Trey Lance. Yeah.
And Addison's
I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah. Then everybody's toast in Minnesota. Jeez Louise.
How about Jaron Hall? What if he's really good?
Who?
I have seen enough of Jaron Hall in college to pretty confidently say he is not going to be a good NFL quarterback, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I had to throw that out there as well. I'm giving out really good guys. Come on now, Trey Lance, Jaron Hall. Come on.
See, that's the thing. Like, sorry, and then we can move on. That's the thing, though. Like, Minnesota's going to be good enough. They're going to be a playoff team or a fringe playoff team that they're not going to have draft capital. If Cousins does move to draft a good rookie, they're going to have to try to, hit the free agent pool and see who they can get. But it's yeah. I mean, who are you going to get? Like a Teddy Bridgewater? Like, are you going to
take Teddy?
You're going to recycle the tires on Baker? Like, well, I mean,
no, they've already had Teddy
Bridgewater is just as good as Kenny Pickett.
No,
I disagree.
No, he is not.
Good Lord, they're both average quarterbacks.
Jeez, no, I think. Do you secretly? Oh, okay, I know what happened here. Teddy Bridgewater signed with Detroit, and so now you're.
Oh no, I've always
all
liked
aboard
Teddy,
the Teddy train.
No, I swear to you, you can go back to his Carolina days. I was really excited when he got that job in Carolina. I thought he was going to do something because I really liked him when he was in Minnesota as well as Teddy Two Gloves when he tore his ACL. I thought he got a raw deal out of Minnesota, to be honest.
Kenny Pickett and Teddy both wears 2 gloves. There it is.
dude.
There's the connection.
It's the two glove thing. But I just think that, I think Teddy is a fine quarterback, and that's what I think Kenny Pickett can aspire to be, is a fine quarterback. And that's pretty much the ceiling.
I think you really hate Kenny Pickett. I think that's the crux of this issue.
He hates Kenny Pickett and loves
I
Mac
can't help
Jones.
it. I think he's average, and everybody's touting him as some freaking savior.
I don't think there's that. I just think he was pretty bad last year. He had a lot of turnovers. If he kind of corrects some of those turnovers and improves in the red zone, then his numbers look a lot better, and I think we feel a lot differently about him.
Well, if Mac Jones doesn't have Matt Patricia in his second year, he looks a lot better too. So if ifs and buts were candies and nuts. Jeez. All right, so the man on the cover of this thing, and I don't know why JB would do such a thing to us. This is a Lion-centric podcast. It's a fantasy podcast. I only think it's a Lion-centric podcast. But he put Christian Watson on the cover. What are our realistic expectations for this guy?
Packers fans, cover your ears. It's not good. It's not pretty.
Do you guys want to do it for me?
If you think I hate George Pickens, bring in Christian Watson. Man, that guy. I have a hard time. I see we put down here boom, bust, flex. I think bust is going to happen a lot more than boom. I just think one of the hardest things right now is Jordan Love, right? Going from Aaron Jones to Jordan Love is going to be a big step back. And so I always go back to this, and whenever we bring him up, but his touchdowns all came in 1 or 2 games, right? And so I just worry about that. And I'm hearing a lot about what's his name?
Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, Dobbs. Oh. So I think we're hearing a lot about him. And I just think at the end of the day, Christian Watson is going to just be kind of meh.
So I actually really like Christian Watson as a player. He scored really high in my player model.
He's fast as hell, man.
He's super fast. His hands are, let's call them questionable. He did. He scored all 7 of his touchdowns in a span of 4 games. So
Was 3 in one game?
And 3 was in one game against the Cowboys. Yeah. And then
were they all passes, or was one a reverse?
I think one was a reverse.
No. Yeah, I think he ran in one of them. Yeah.
So you didn't even have to catch that one. So,
but also, I mean, the part of that too is Aaron Rodgers was throwing him the ball. Now he's going to Jordan Love, who we think might be okay. We don't really know, but I think Haller, you had a really good point that I wanted to hit, is that it seems like all the news blurbs and hype pieces coming out of Green Bay is centered around Jordan Love's connection with Romeo Doubs, not so much with Christian Watson. I haven't really seen anything. And so that's a little bit concerning, right? And so I think the Packers team is going to be reliant on Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon to run the ball quite a bit. They have a good defense. How much are they going to throw the ball and trust Jordan Love to huck it? And then are they going to, start throwing bombs to Christian Watson? Maybe. I don't
know. So that's what I think. When I think of Christian Watson, I just think of just bombs down the field, right? And I don't think that's what Jordan Love is, and I also don't think that's what they will let him be right away, right? And so that's going to hurt Christian Watson, and they're going to definitely lean on the running back, both running backs. They have 2 good ones, and so they're going to lean on those guys.
So I actually was curious. I was looking at his he's wide receiver 20 right now on FantasyCalc, which I think is pretty considerably higher than any of us value him. And then I pulled up some recent trades that have happened in the last week for Watson. So Christian Watson traded straight up for Austin Eckler. Christian Watson was traded for Javonte Williams plus a 24 first. Christian Watson was traded for Christian Watson and a 24 second for Jordan Addison and 2 24 seconds.
I will take the other side on every single one of those every single day of the week.
I will smash on one of those on the other side. Holy moly.
See, that's what I thought too. So I think the fantasy, and especially the dynasty community, is really high on Christian Watson. And his redraft ranking, he's going in the 3rd, 4th round. People are expecting huge things out of Christian Watson. I don't see it. I have him projected as my wide receiver 40, which maybe that's too low, but man,
he'll have to be super efficient.
That's the thing.
The way he scores his touchdowns is if he gets into the open field and he has, just a straight line to just go and run. And I mean, he does that very well. He does that trick very well. That is for sure. But like you guys have mentioned, Aaron Rodgers is no longer there. So we're no longer checking to plus plays for, our wide receivers. We don't know what Jordan Love's like, when the bullets are really flying out here. We know what preseason's like, and we know what his camp hype is like. Camp hype's great for everybody right now.
But also, we've said this already, the camp hype is more for Dobbs, so I just worry a lot about that. If we were hearing things about Christian Watson, okay, then maybe we would feel a little bit better. But honestly, I kind of like where you have him projected WR40. Like if that's where he was going in startups and redraft and everything, then maybe I would take a shot on him. But he's going super high, and there's other guys that I would take all day.
I think the Dobbs hype is even quieted. It seems to be a lot of Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave. Let's tout the rookies as much as we can. And we all know how I feel about Jaden Reed, even though he went to Michigan State. I don't know that he's, a superstar wide receiver by any stretch of the means.
Yeah, no. I think, honestly, who's probably would be like the best out of that receiving core is going to be Musgrave. I feel like, I mean, not the best, fantasy option, but I just think he will be, kind of.
Oh, he's the check down
Jordan
safety blanket.
Let
me get out of here. Let me get done.
Musgrave is fast too. Did you guys see that report like a couple weeks ago that he was the fastest GPS tracked player from the Packers practice, and that included Christian Watson? Like,
dang,
jeez, Duke and Hall.
Damn,
he's really athletic. His problem was that he couldn't stay healthy at Oregon State, but when he was on the field, that dude's a monster.
Yeah. So that's what I mean is I think, Ron, you already said it, but I think they're going to check the ball down a lot. They're going to use A.J. Dillon. They're going to use Aaron Jones. And I think those three guys are going to be the most beneficiaries of Jordan Love. And then I think there's going to be some boomer bust games for Christian Watson. And then I think, but he probably will be a bit better by the end of the season because we'll know what Jordan Love is. Maybe not, but I think if they can get some kind of rapport and, Jordan Love can kind of throw the ball up there, then I think Christian Watson will be okay. But where he's going is too much for me.
Yeah. I think it's super rich for what he brings to the table. That's for sure.
100%.
Should we move on down to our favorite resources and tips for the first-time Dynasty players?
Love it.
Let's do it. Holler, why don't you hit us up first?
So I want to use this one first. I think my favorite is, the Discord. I joined the Dynasty Theory Discord. I think it was last summer sometime. Ron actually, DM'd me and told me to jump in. And since then I've, learned so much. And I think that is probably, I pay for the Patreon. So I think there's so many good resources from JB, Mitch, and Dan. And I just think, that is probably one of the, if you want to pay a little bit, I think right now they also have a free option. And so there right now, just throw your questions in there. They have different channels in the Discord. There's one of my favorites is the trade. You can throw up a trade poll and see. Most of the time my trades, I start out really bad. And so I always, pull my trade before I actually send it off. And then, it's probably the best spot to start and get yourself, start to ask questions and you'll learn a ton.
The Dynasty Theory Discord is free now. There are like premium channels in there where like there's like a game day chat where a lot of us are in and we're talking about the games that are happening as they go.
That's patron only though.
And we do some like watch parties and stuff too, which is quite fun. So it's worth it.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate, the Dynasty Theory. This is where I met these two guys, and actually, I met Haller in a league. I met McSpanky in the DT Discord. But I think the Dynasty Theory Discord, like these guys have said, just asking questions, getting to know other people, seeing just a ton of people's just different ideas. There's way more ideas out there than what you could even know. It kind of makes my head spin sometimes. But some other places, Dynasty Daddy, of course, they sponsor Dynasty Theory. So Dynasty Daddy can bring you all your players, your Dynasty portfolio, gives you contender rankings, rebuild rankings, trade calculators. Am I missing any? Like, it does a ton of stuff. I haven't clicked on the button
it's awesome.
on that website yet. Dynasty Planet can also be a helpful one for your start-sit situations. I haven't got to use Dynasty Daddy yet for the start-sit or anything like that. So I figured we'd throw Dynasty Planet still in here. And, one of the biggest things that I kind of got into when I first started is I always just watched football. I didn't do much, statistical diving into stuff until I joined the Discord, and I was like, oh man, there's like a whole nother world where all these stats and numbers go, and this correlates with that. And I think the best thing to do is just dip your toes in there into the analytics, into the watching of the film, and figure out what you like best and what works best for you. I still prefer the film, but
so I love it, and the analytics is where I really love, because I'm a numbers nerd, and so I live in the sheets, right? I do.
With JB.
Yeah, JB and I are deep in our sheets, man.
You guys cuddled up. Who's a little spoon?
It depends on the
night.
They trade off.
No, but yeah, no, like the analytics are awesome. If you're curious about it, like feel free to message me. I'm always happy to talk about it, or you can join the Discord and we can chat. I can show you kind of what some of my player models and stuff look like. You mentioned Dynasty Daddy. One of my favorite things on there, especially if you're newer or maybe you're only in like 1 or 2 leagues, the league power rankings they have kind of gives you a nice like unbiased view of how they see how all the teams will stack up. So maybe you think you're a contender and you're debating, should I send out my first? And then they're like, well, your team's actually not as good as you think it is. And then it's like, okay, maybe I need to rethink some of these trades.
Yeah.
And then DLF.
Always a good gut check there.
For sure. And the DLF is really good too. They have like a trade finder, so you can see kind of where some different player, like real trades that have happened in real leagues. They have a trade calculator, which is always nice. It's kind of like a baseline to see if you're off or not. And then the one thing that I would say for like advice, and this is something that I struggled with when I started, was don't be afraid to trade. Like when I first started, I was so worried that like I would put everything to a trade calculator, and I was like, well, it says I'm losing value. I can't do it. Like, I'm sorry, man. I can't trade her. I'm like, well, if my player, goes off, then I'm going to hate myself. I'm going to hate this team. It's like, you know what? Like, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal, and it's supposed to be fun, right? So don't stress about like, well, this trade calculator says I'm losing, by like 200 points. Like, well, are you getting good players? Do you like those players?
Another
like,
one and win by 200.
Just have
points.
fun. Yeah. Like, it doesn't.
And I always feel like trade calculators, you can make an argument for all of them, like there's not, that's why I really love the Dynasty Theory Discord, because you can throw that poll up there. A lot of times people have different views, and it's awesome to just start to chat about it. And then you kind of can, walk yourself off the ledge. And then like, honestly, my favorite part of Dynasty in general now is trades.
Trades are fun.
Yeah.
Getting different players and kind of managing your portfolio. If you start getting into multiple leagues, some people only have 1, 2, 3 leagues. Some people might have more than that. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll just leave it there. My wife might listen one day. Also, don't be afraid to plant your flag on your guys. They're your guys, say they're your guys. And I'm not trading them for nothing. Give me your soul for them. Whatever it takes. Most importantly, listen to this podcast, Fantasy Effect, with these two smart guys sitting next to me.
You're a smart guy too.
To my right. Oops.
It depends on how you're looking at the screen.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah.
Well, everything, it does it backwards. You're to my right on my screen. Both of you guys. Thanks for saying I'm smart too, though.
Fantastic audio for the podcast.
This is an awkward ending here. Well,
and then
Dynasty Theory, words of wisdom.
Dynasty Theory has their podcast every Tuesday as well.
Yes, and if you sign up for their Patreon, you get pivot points on the weekend, and the pivot points is where you really crush everybody else. So
also, we have actual meaningful football. It's not NFL football, but college football does start this Saturday.
Week 0.
Yes, sir.
USC's playing with Caleb Williams. There's a couple. I know Notre Dame's playing as well. There's a couple bigger schools playing, but mostly smaller schools. But there's some decent players out there. So
you guys will get to watch Caleb, won't you? Because you guys live on the West Coast. I won't get.
Yes, sir.
On the best coast, baby. Let's go.
I think that game's at like 5 though, so you might be able to see some of it.
I think it's on Pac-12 TV though, and I don't have
Pac-12 after dark.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, pretty soon they're going to be in Big Ten country, and you get to watch those USC
without
kickoffs
Caleb.
against
Without
Northwestern.
Caleb. Yeah, right. That'll be real sweet.
All right.
Well, should we get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Appreciate you.
See you guys.
Peace.